Hi, this is Attila 16 and this is another guide for a deck of the US Armor deck this time. This is actually a new take on the US Armor deck. One of my most popular video for Wargame was my US Armor deck that I did a long time ago, which is still good by the way. It's just that this one is a bit of a new take on it, and I guess it's aiming at doing stuff which the other one was not necessarily designed to do, and it's also it's a bit different, let's say. So let's get on with the explanation of everything. So here you have my regular fast-moving or nearly fast-moving CP, 7 of them. That's good enough usually. Then I use a HEMTT with a lot of supply. This thing is amazing, and you're sure it won't get shut down by anti-air, which is a good difference compared to this one, which I'm also using. Super Chinook, very good, a lot of supply, perfect to resupply your anti-air and artillery and that kind of stuff. Infantry, I'm using SO Engineer. These guys are great for defending some urban area or forest, depending. They'll be probably your best counterpart to face Spetsnaz, but to be honest, they're not that amazing because they're small in number and they're not elite. But I guess it's better than nothing. If you need to hold the town, that's the unit to use. Then I'm using the LAAD Stinger C. This unit has a really good accuracy here. The range against chopper is not the best on Earth, but it's compensated by the accuracy. And also the fact that when you're in the town, you're a little more stealthy. So you can get closer to the enemy. This unit, I'm using them, two group of them, and with less experience. And they are a good complement or defense for your tank overall. That's why I'm using more of them. Also, the deck is kind of lacking in anti-air, so it's important to use infantry anti-air also. Here I'm using two group of Arden light, no, not light riflemen, sorry, riflemen, 90, with the cheapest transport. I could have gone with Bradley's, but I decided to use a cheap transport because in this case, riflemen are mostly used for clearing the area ahead and not necessarily becoming the main tool with the Bradleys. The Bradleys, they cost some more. They can be very effective, but in this case, I'm mostly relying on the riflemen to scout ahead. And the Bradleys, they will cost too much, which are a cost that I end up not spending on the tank of this deck. So that's why I'm doing that compromise. Okay, anti-air. I'm using Hawk Tree, which have an amazing range. Very vulnerable to seed planes, sadly. Which is probably one of the big weaknesses of this deck. It's the anti-air capacity. I'm using Pivads, which are also radar guided, which make them exposed to seed planes as well. But this one, it's useful because you can roll around and actually you cannot with these. But yeah, it's a very reliable unit against chopper, assuming the enemy will take the risk to get close, because it's kind of limited in range against chopper. But when they get in range, they fire a lot and they are able to shoot them down. Actually, those Hawk have a higher range against chopper. Here I'm using the M109A2 for artillery. I'm mostly using this to shoot specific targets, but also to create a smoke screen, which can be actually very useful when you do maneuver with tank, and that can also disrupt the enemy chopper a bit. So this is what's interesting about that artillery piece is the rate of fire, I guess, which is higher than if I was using a bigger gun, and you have more ammo also, which is important when you try to smoke something. Then I'm using the M48A3 Chaparral, probably your best unit against chopper. Also okay against plane. The accuracy is not that amazing, but I guess since this is infrared, it will survive seed planes much more, which is important. Okay, so for the tank, I'm using the M8 AGS. This is a very good tank. It doesn't have much armor, but the gun is just amazing. With 60% accuracy on the move, make them perfect to maneuver, and an AP power of 17, which make them able to take care of even T-80s. And the rate of fire is very high, so that means that if you're able to ambush the enemy with these, this thing is just amazing. A very good unit, and not that expensive, only 50 points, and you can take out T-80s with this. Okay, M1A2 Abrams. This is the most expensive tank ever. Really good AP power and really good front armor. These are the type of tank which are able to take on an entire army of enemy tank, as long as you have the ammo for it. But because they are that expensive, they are a great target for the enemy. That's why it's probably not the kind of thing that you want to expose too much unless you have a large amount of anti-air. So usually, for example, in 10 versus 10, you might want to wait until a couple of enemy planes were shut down to reduce the chance. Here, that's another very good unit with 155 points to buy it, 19 AP power, which make them good at killing T-80s. 20 front armor, which make them good at surviving T-80s. And you can have 6 of them in this case, so that become a kind of a mainline battle tank for you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Here I'm using the M60A1 Era, which is a tank that is not that expensive. I preferred it to the Abram because the Abram has only 13 AP power, and this one has 16, so it's cheaper and has a better cannon. The only downside to it is that it's gonna slow off-road. The armor is a bit smaller if we compare that actually. So like look at that, less armor, better cannon, less accuracy on the move, faster rate of fire, and the accuracy is a bit worse. And you have 2d8 rounds instead of 40. But in the end, I prefer this one because of the AP power, which is 16. So that means that this is a tank that costs a little less, and it will hit a little more. It's a bigger target, which can expose it to airstrike and choppers. But if you support it well, it can do a great job. And because all of these have good experience, they are really effective as well. Then I'm using the M11P Abram, which is a bit of an alternate to the M60. This one, I guess, yeah, I'll use it more for main battlefront purpose, where I don't necessarily see heavy enemy tank that my better Abrams can take out, but where I still need a good defensive capacity and a good AP power. While the other one, the M60, I'll use it more for offensive purpose, and then I'll be supported by other tank, let's say. So this one is more defensive, while this one is more offensive, let's say. And the reason for this is the AP power, and it's also the cost of the unit, because when you move on the offense, you prefer to waste less expensive units. Okay, recon. Now these guys, rangers, pretty good at everything. They do their job, very good uptick, and they can fight. They are similar to a regular unit, but they are recon, which is rather practical. Here I'm using the best Bradley CFV. So this unit, it's really amazing. It has a very good uptick. It's not the most stealthy thing ever, but with those two launcher, you can hide it into an area which has a good visibility around, and the enemy tank will show up. And with an AP power of 25, you can kill many of them. Actually, I've seen that unit destroy many T-80 UM in one shot because they were hitting the side. So it's all a matter of hiding them at the right spot, and from there you'll be able to kill many. And also the armor is actually okay, which make them able to sustain potential mortar fire or artillery fire, which is not that accurate. So it's a really good unit. Kiowa, I used this for flexibility, good recon. Not the most amazing ever, but that's all I can get in this deck. It has a minigun which make them able to shoot down potential enemy infantry that will try to sneak around, especially scout infantry. So, but to be honest, it's not that much of a fighting force. It's mostly a quick moving recon. Okay, here I'm actually using M163CS, which is similar to anti-air PVAD, but with very bad stats indeed. They have a rather limited anti-air capacity and anti-ground capacity. But what's fun about this specific unit is that they fire on the move and they don't care about missing, and they can actually end up killing stuff like tank. They can also stun the enemy, and they will decimate any infantry that shows up. But what I like them the most for is really the fact that they can do anti-air at close proximity on the move, which make them very good actually to surprise the enemy chopper. And on top of that, they do appear as a tank icon. So people which don't necessarily read the name or don't identify the unit they are targeting think they are actually tank, and they might engage these with choppers, and as a result die from it. So that's a kind of fun unit to have, and you can spread them around. They are not that expensive, and yeah, it's a good fun to look at these shoot all over the place. Okay, chopper, I'm using the Cobra 1S, which has a lot of rockets. It's kinda good to suppress town, for example, and destroy infantry unit. They're not that expensive, so they can also hunt down the enemy scouts, but they're no good against tank. It's really a unit that you'll use for clearing towns from enemy infantry, so supporting your troop mostly. It's a bit of a close quarter support, let's say. Then I'm using the other Cobra 1F. This version has a tow launcher, very good AP power, a good rocket launcher, pretty standard there, and a Vulcan. It's a very useful unit to deal with isolated tank unit, and also defend against large enemy push. So very useful at that, let's say. Okay, F111F. Yeah, Aardvark. This thing doesn't have much of a chance to survive in many cases, but it has a pretty large amount of cluster bomb. To be honest, my reflection about this air aspect of this deck is that cluster bomb are rather good at dealing with choppers. So with the aardvark, if you drop your bombs on an area which has chopper, you can actually cover a large area and destroy many choppers on the way. Also, if you use both aardvark, you end up potentially destroying many tank. And also they're not that expensive. So it's a kinda good unit to use, but you will likely lose them because they don't have such a great ECM. Then I'm using the Eagle D. This is a strike eagle essentially. This one has those 4 1,000-pound bombs, so perfect to destroy enemy infantry in town or destroy anything really. With a 40% ECM, they survive very well. But they cost 160, so very expensive. You want to be careful with these, but when they actually strike the right place, they can destroy enormous amount of enemy. The Nighthawk, a stealthy unit, kinda exposed to enemy missiles because it has 0 ECM. So it's perfect as long as you're really careful with them. It drops GBU bombs, which will track their target. It's a very reliable bomber. You just need to be very careful about it. Okay, here I'm actually using 2 type of F-16 which have cluster bomb. The rationale here is the same as the aardvark. It's just that these cost a little less. For example, those cheap F-16A. Well, these cost a little more, but they have more cluster. So these, with these, I will hunt down the enemy choppers or tank units, and with the number, I'll overwhelm the defense, hopefully. And actually, this version has 30% ECM, which make them more likely to survive, while the other one has only 20%, which is okay. And both actually really fast. So all of this is really fast, except the Nighthawk. So that is it for this US armored deck. I will show you a video where I'm playing this deck, and I hope you will enjoy. Okay, so here we go with that American tank deck. So let's see what we'll do. I think what I'll do is I'll go over here. I'll try to capture Gulf. And to do so, I will rely on M60A1. And I will make them, well, let them be escorted by those M163CS, which are not the best anti-air, but they're good enough. And hopefully everything will go fine. Actually, I will remove one group, and I will instead deploy one piece of artillery, which will establish a kind of a smoke screen. Now I'll verify that everybody are doing their job, because even though I have a plan, that doesn't mean everybody else has one. Now, because my anti-air of this group are usually they appear as a tank with the sign, well, that might end up being a bit dangerous for the enemy, which will believe that I don't have any anti-air with me. Well, here I'll bring my command vehicle into that forest. And I think as soon as I'll have points, I will try to send some Kiowa over here to have an angle on what's going on that hill. Well, here what I'll do is I'll bombard a little this crossroad. That doesn't mean that will hit soon enough. Okay, just a few rounds, that's fine. Okay, interesting. Couple of MI8. Sadly, I don't have anything to target that yet. It's time to bombard with smoke. And the good news is I don't see any recon here yet. There is a few here on the other end. Which I need to be careful about. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be much of a opposition to me at the moment. Now let's spread out. Nobody captured that position yet with the command vehicle. My smoke screen is doing its job of disrupting whatever might target me. While here they are reacting to my move. Okay, I shall be able to capture this position. They're coming in with VDV. We'll prioritize their destruction. The amount of anti-air, bad anti-air, but effective, is doing its job. Okay, now it's time to move over there and secure this place. The rest of the front seem okay. Here they're neglecting to capture this place. Command vehicle just captured that place now. We'll call in some proper anti-air. And I'm not sure if I should actually push forward. Why not? Yeah, let's push forward. Because I seem to have opened the way quite a bit. I'll call in a command vehicle. Well, the rest of my army is helping out securing this area. Now, Era tank are not that expensive, so it's okay if I lose a few on the way. The other end, some other vehicle, more expensive. Okay. So I'm far from certain that I will actually capture that place. But if I do, that's kind of funny. I'll wait here a little. Not under cluster bomb fire, please. Trying to dodge the cluster bomb, that's dangerous. Oh, they got lucky. I will call another command vehicle. Let's say that they got very lucky. Because they got my anti-air and my command vehicle, so that's very, very, very lucky. Sadly. So I guess my solution to this will be an F-16. Which will attempt to destroy that Mi-28. Yeah, that was a bit of a disaster just because the guy managed to hit my anti-air. Now my thing are a bit out of ammo. No, M60 era should be able to fight against T-72. But I will certainly need some reinforcements, mostly anti-air. Took care of their tank. But I'm still trouble against their choppers. Got lucky that this Akula did not manage to hit anything. Okay, so we did capture that zone. Well, not capture, but neutralize it for now. Well, my guess is that it's pretty certain that the enemy is in that forest. So I will risk it. I don't know if I disheartened them. But one of them left. Surely he might be here. Seem to have lost my bombers and they did not manage to destroy this thing, so something must have gone wrong. And now they're coming with the big guns. T-80. Fortunately, my ally is supporting me okay. And my supplies and fuel are kinda low, which is a bit of a problem at the moment. Here I'm a bit concerned by the lack of friendly troops over here. So I will call in a recon. Okay, that's the enemy command vehicle. Perfect. Now they thought these were tank, but yeah, they are, but kinda against chopper as well. So I will try to secure this place from enemy choppers, which is my main difficulty at the moment. Just look at the amount of choppers coming. That's self-explanatory. I got those choppers, but there is something coming as well, which I no longer have in visual, and I'm kinda low in points. Also low on fuel. Low on everything. And they also seem to rely a lot on anti-radar support. That's problematic for me as well. I'll bring Bradley. Its recon capacity will be of a great help. Yeah, they really rely a lot on anti-radar, which is extremely bad for me at the moment. Actually, I'm not sure if I should bring that type of tank or an M1A2. M1A2 will be more lasting in terms of damage. Yeah, they really have a better positioning than I can have. And I need to take care of that. Coming missile. Unloading my recons, and let's see what can I do with this. I no longer have much capacity against their air. Well, I seem to have enough. It's a bit of a curious round, I must say. My allies seem to have managed to capture that place, which is good news for me. T80 BV, that's dangerous. I seem to have destroyed it, which is a good news for me, again.
I knew you wouldn't leave us idle for long.
My problem right now is really my lack of anti-air. This is slowing me down quite a bit.
Unchecked and ready. What are your orders, sir? Just put it out. Need some extra eyes, sir?
I can see that those M60 era are not that expensive, and yet they can fire on pretty good Russian tank over there.
Stand up, fight, sir, or another flush hunt. You've got something for me?
Destroying my anti-air. I guess I will go with another approach here. I will send a couple of infantry. And I'll call in some more M60 era.
Just spit it out. On the move.
Yeah, that MiG-25 is rather lucky.
Awaiting new orders, sir.
I guess that kinda illustrates well the main weakness of this deck.
Customers for a test eval. Air defense ready.
It's that it's relying way too much on
Waiting for your order.
radar guided anti-air. So that's why having them
Moving out.
use a different well, being supported by something else might be a good idea.
Someone called for a cab? Platoon is formed and ready. Are you talking to me? What can the infantry do for you, sir? Always comes down to the infantryman and his weapon. The enemy is in range, so are we.
My problem is that a good portion of my anti-air capacity is my planes. And right now they are just too close to actually be able to beat the enemy choppers.
What is it you want this time?
So I guess I have no choice but to rely much more on my infantry anti-air.
Trouble! Sir, yes, sir.
Guess I'll pull back my M1A2.
Advancing to coordinates.
Guess not. Actually, I will.
Finally, some action.
I will call a lot of those CS anti-air.
Are you talking to me?
And I'll get the points to get another Abraham.
Just spit it out.
Yeah, this way. I think with my Abrams I will actually pull them back over here. And I will attack that position over there. I will help them out using some infantry.
You've got something for me?
While here, I might as well call in some M8, which are good enough to kill most vehicle or heavy tank pretty easily.
Awaiting new orders, sir. We'll do our best.
Those CS are really proving their worth right now. Against light infantry. Well, not necessarily light infantry, but infantry.
What are your orders, sir?
On the other side, my allies seem to be advancing slowly, but effectively.
Anything for us, sir? Someone called for a cab?
Now those guys seem to be losing stuff finally.
Us, sir?
Now let's move over there. Hopefully there's no anti-tank in those buildings there.
Who do you want us to transport?
There's some here.
Are you talking to me?
I'll actually target that forest in with the hope that whoever is in there is likely ATGM infantry. Yes, it is.
Just spit it out. Need a ride?
Okay, that forest is now mine. Which is all that matter.
What are your orders, sir?
I'll bring myself some more tank perhaps. Yeah, M8 should be fine. While here, I will pull back my riflemen so this way they'll be more inside the forest and better protected. I'm a bit worried that if I move forward my M1A2, I'll be exposing their flank.
Let's rock and roll. Need a ride?
Yeah, like this. Fortunately, my M1A2 react faster.
Yes, sir.
Those seed planes are still an issue, which I cannot do much about.
You've got something for me? Yes, sir.
But from by moving here with my Abrams, I'm able to target the enemy reinforcements to that forest from here.
Need customers for a taxi route.
I guess that was a victory. So yeah, 4,000, that's okay for many loss because of my of the enemy seed planes actually. If we look at this, it's mostly look what killed my stuff. Smerge Mi-28. Yeah, it's mostly the air stuff that killed my units. But yeah, that went well. So I'll see you on the next video.